record button. So we've begun recording. Welcome to the Evolution Working Group meeting for July 29th, 2020. I've just pasted the link for the minutes into the screen cadoodle, and I'm now sharing them for the purpose of memorialization on the video. Well, a lot of people have time to sit around watching Hulu during the pandemic, but why not watch CHAOSS working group videos as well? Add us to your repertoire. We had a discussion about renaming reviews to pull and merge requests, and this came up in the meeting that we had last time that maybe we wanted to include it. I think what our suggestion was as a working group was that we would include a glossary in the release of metrics. And when we took that suggestion to the larger CHAOSS group following our last meeting, the thought was, well, as we talked it through, really reviews as a defined thing inside of the evolution metrics working group. They're the only metric we have right now that is, I think, that anyone in the community call can identify as obviously confusing, because a code review is a different thing than what we're calling reviews, and it's also a common thing. And neither of the major platforms actually calls pull request, calls what we're calling a review. GitHub obviously calls it a pull request, GitLab calls it a merge requests, and those are the two dominant platforms. And when we looked at, I think even Bitbucket calls them, I can't remember which term they use, it's one of the two that GitHub and GitLab both use as well. The only question that arose was around a tool called Garrett, which really treats a pull request somewhat like a commit. So each pull request actually only includes one commit. So, you know, the discussion that Daniel and I started to have on the community call, and others who are here, was that, well, maybe, so we needed to think about Garrett and whether or not it's a significant concern. And I have the perspective that what they call a pull request on Garrett, but I've never used it, sounds much more like a commit, that because it is just only ever one commit, than what GitHub, GitLab, and other platforms consider a pull request, which usually includes more than one commit. So I don't know what to do. Does anyone else in the group have a perspective? Because Daniel and I have the action item, but Daniel's not here. We could just postpone this, and I could email Daniel.
I think it will be nice if we like separate it out instead of having a dictionary or.
Yeah, just to call it pull and merge requests.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe the to-do is
that is like an issue with the platform dependency now. It's if we say pull request or merge request, that means we are talking about GitHub.
Well, no, pull/merge requests accounts for GitHub and GitLab and Bitbucket,
Okay.
which are the major platforms that people used. I was just on the Asia Pacific call, and they use something called Gitty. I think I created an account on Gitty. I don't remember. Pretty sure I did.
Oh, so it's kind of a GitHub for the Chinese?
Yeah, it's a Chinese, exactly what it is. It's a Chinese GitHub, GitLab. And apparently whatever I created for my password, I didn't save correctly, which often happens when I create a new password. So I will reset my password, and have no idea what that says, but I assume it's like an OK button. User does not exist. Okay, so all right, we'll solve that later. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't recall what Git he calls them, but I imagine it's in Chinese.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the three. I mean, I don't. From an open source perspective, the active sites are mostly GitHub, a lot of GitLab, some Bitbucket. After that, I don't know if is there anything, are there other major open source repository platforms that people are using?
I think Gerrit.
Yeah, Garrett was the one that came up.
Yeah, because I think they're using the change set.
But is there a public site for Garrett, or is that?
Yeah, they have their website, but projects that are using Gerrit, like OpenStack and many others, yeah, they customize things. But I think change set, it's a common terminology in Gerrit.
Okay, Garrett. Oh, I see. This is a Google Git. What's the website for it? Just garrett.org or garrettcodereview.com. Okay. So this will be the other major thing, and they have you used Garrett at all, Armstrong?
Yes, I've used Gerrit, but I cannot really say I'm an expert for it right now, even though I'm analyzing things with Gerrit.
Okay.
Yes, but there are a few questions that I can attend, but not all the technical things for now. Yeah.
I guess is there a place? I'm expecting I can create an account and create repositories on a website. Is that not what Garrett does? Is Garrett simply a tool where I then serve up Git repos using my own website?
You mean like with the Gerrit?
Yeah, like I'm right now on the page. I've never used it.
Oh, okay. Like,
and so I'm looking for where do I create an account to log in, but it looks like it might be a download where you serve your own Git repositories.
yeah, because what usually happens is that projects such as OpenStack, they use Gerrit.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
So there are some very big there are some very large, like OpenStack's a very large project, and they are using Garrett.
Yes.
So there's enough of a. What are some of the other major projects that use Garrett?
I have to look, but I know a good number of them do. Like the Canonical also uses Gerrit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I'll just have to search, but I know a good number of open source ecosystem use Gerrit.
Okay. And do they have something called a pull request, or do they?
I think that is the change set.
The change set.
Just give me a sec. Let me try to verify on the documentation. Then, if in case we can also try to talk to Iziko. She was on the call on Monday because she's the ecosystem technical lead at OpenStack.
Mm-hmm.
We can just ask her to give us, let's say, some very concrete definitions or concepts of this pull request, how it works on OpenStack.
Okay. Yeah. She did talk a little bit on the call, and it does.
Yes.
I mean, I think. So yeah. I think the question was whether or not it's actually the same thing.
Yeah, because I know if we ask her through email, like through the mailing list, this will also give her let's say 1 or 2 days to reflect on it and give us the documentation, because she also teaches it at the onboarding institute for OpenStack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
is that okay?
Yeah, so she's well knowledge about that domain.
Are you willing to reach out and contact her then?
Yes, I'll reach out. I'll contact her for that.
That would be awesome. Then we can take care of this agenda item by saying, oops. Say action item : Armstrong found gem. Contact OpenStack. Yeah, and I think the questions we have are largely the ones that are documented here, which and it's really, my question's really, is it, because when I heard them say it was a single request or a single commit every time you did whatever it is Garrett calls it, that just, it doesn't sound like we would be measuring the same thing as a pull request. You know, it sounds like a fundamentally different workflow. And so if we did, for example, file counting or commit counting with Garrett, it seems like limiting this pull request or code review that they call it, I think possibly, that if that's limited to only a single commit, then that is a different, they're sort of driving a different human workflow, and some also smaller pieces. So in some respects, that may be a positive for Garrett, because we know that very large pull requests are not merged or take longer to merge in general than smaller pull requests. You know, pull requests with fewer commits that affect fewer files. And from a metric standardization perspective, my biggest question is, I guess there's two questions. I think one is a Garrett code review conceptually in the same category as a pull request or merge request? And this question arises from its limitation of a single commit and questions people in CHAOSS who are consuming metrics are asking about pull merge requests, which often include many commits, how many files. So is it only the, I guess that's, and then the second question is a Garrett code review more like a commit review of each commit, or commits, and I guess are commits collected in groups? I thought I'd heard somebody say they were.
But I think what you are doing is good, because you give a perspective of the question, so people could now see where you are coming from.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's there's certainly no, I mean, I think the conceptual questions are where we were trying to tease out if Garrett is if this process on Garrett is I guess conceptually similar enough to pull and merge requests that comparing this code review process Garrett has with, so we pulled statistics from Garrett about code reviews, and we pulled statistics from GitLab and GitHub repositories. Do they really amount to the same thing? Are the comparisons valid? Or is this, I guess, a different kind of thing? And it might be just it might just be that the question of how many, it might just exclude how many commits. Like maybe it just means that this question is not interesting, but everything else is the same. So maybe the time to close and other considerations like that are more, remain a part of the process with Garrett. and maybe it doesn't, you know. So I think getting some feedback, like would the pull request metrics that we have defined be useful to a, you know, mean anything? What would I guess would our existing review metrics be meaningful to a Carrot user? They might be, and then we have to consider the reviews terminology. And I think yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what to do with this because I haven't used Garrett. So I think Armstrong, you're reaching out, and sort of you can shave that list of questions down to something simpler. But
okay,
those are my wonderings.
okay.
And then I guess I'll put that in there. So that's all we can say about that. The metrics we have being released next on the agenda are new contributors and inactive contributors. And review period ends in 2 days. We do have a set of metrics that we're continuing to advance that are not, but we're not going to release in the interim form until after this release. So like the next time we meet, we'll be in a position to do an interim release again. And I think the one that we were starting to work on last time was review acceptance ratio. And I think we made, wow. Okay. It looks like there's been, all right, I asked Georg for that. It looks like we've come a long way with this metric. Do we want to each take a minute to review it, take a look at it? And let me find the Zoom chat. I always have a hard time finding the chat button when I'm sharing my screen. I'll just share this link. It's also in the other document, but for convenience, I just shared it in the chat. So I think we said time period was not an aggregator. But now you're saying time period's not an aggregator?
We are implementing that in the parameters.
Right. Good point. So I'm just gonna, I just did the cross it out formally as a suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is boilerplate, so I'm going to take that out. Obviously, it wouldn't be in a released metric.
We have one boilerplate at the end also.
Oh, there's and then here's, I think that it must have been in the development of this metric that we came, because when I put the footnote in there, So that footnote will stay or go depending on the outcome of the prior discussion, I suppose.
Like on this graph, I have a question. So this is a combination of multiple things, or
It's
just a,
but it is the merged. It's the acceptance ratios. These are acceptance ratios. It's
okay,
raw numbers, but it's what's
but it
merged,
has
what's not
different
merged.
parameters in it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
any visualization example is going to have parameters.
Right.
Sean, for the visualization, did you use the time series analysis on the chart?
Well, it's grouping them by year. So it's the year that a pull request. So it only this metric is only looking at closed pull requests, right? Because an acceptance isn't decided until it's closed, and so it's saying of the pull requests opened in these years, which of them were ultimately merged and which of them were ultimately not merged and closed. So it's quite specific to a project, and so the filter is a year.
Okay, so it's not time, it's just a basic graph, not a time series analysis graph.
When you say time series analysis, Armstrong, maybe tell me a little bit more about what you mean.
Well, like time series analysis is a model to understand events that happens over a given period of time.
Right.
It's like in machine learning as well. So, but you try now to fix a fixed time interval and a period. So we can now see we can now add additive function, like a functionality called additive model, which now shows the trend.
Right. This
graph.
These two graphs are more trendy. I think these are showing a 7-day trailing average.
Yes. This I got it from the auger.
Yeah. So anytime you do on like something like pull requests or data like this, if you do individual data points on a line graph, you get an extremely spiky line graph. And so the way that this auger represents the time series, and tell me if this is what you mean by time series, Armstrong. This is a graph that auger provides that shows a trailing average of how many reviews have been opened, in this case, in a week. And then this is reviews accepted in a week. We aren't showing reviews there is not a not merged time series, but I'm not sure if that would be meaningful or not. Armstrong, is this what you mean by time series?
Well, it looks like it has some of the components there. I just want to know, like, the time that we measure. For example, is it like every week? I'll just give a simple example, like every Monday of a week or every first day of a month, if it depends, like monthly. We capture the events at that time. So we can now do like forecasting. We can now do forecasting is another word for time series, like prediction.
Yeah, so the caption here could explain what we're doing. I can explain what we're doing. We're taking the total number of commits. So every week is a Sunday to a Saturday in the way that we're calculating it, and we're taking those 7 days in a given week, and we're totaling up the number of commits and dividing them by 7. And then providing a data point for a week so that you can see the average per week of well, I guess we're totaling them and then I don't think it is even dividing, it's just totaling the number of commits within that week. It's just within that week. I wonder if I have to actually go look at it and that caption I might need to clean up because I think is just taking the week total. I think you're right. I don't know what repo this is.
This is CHAOSS.
Okay, Chaos Augur overview.
Yeah.
So that would be in the Augur repo, that's probably right. That is probably the average number of pull requests we have in a week. And we did have a spike at the very end of 2020. Had a lot. Like a lot of, it's kind of funny. You see that trend in a lot of projects where people are just like getting stuff sort of off their plate before the end of the year. That kind of end of year spikiness is not, I've seen that before.
It's a seasonal lag.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people get, okay, so I'm just gonna make a note. Assign myself that. It's gonna, I don't know why it doesn't let me make it. I don't understand how it decides that you can assign something or not. And so we were kind of asked Georg for a Grimoire Lab link. And I'll just do on that. And then declined reviews are defined here, accepted reviews are defined here. So basically this is just a ratio of that. The Augur Zephyr report is one of the things that we used to arrive at this metric. So I think
this is ready for the review now.
I think it is. I think but I do think it would be nice. It would be nice to resolve the question about, and we have time.
Yes.
Because we are not to release interim. I think we didn't release this last time largely because we were informed that that Kevin would find me and harm me in some way if I made him deal with a new metric as an interim release in the middle of a regular release. Okay, so we are waiting for the release to send this metric out for interim review. I would say it would be nice to resolve this question first, but we don't need to. So I'll go back to the minutes and just make a note that I'm just going to say ready for review following end of the release review period currently underway. And then I guess we should look at the spreadsheet and see what other metrics in our evolutionary domain exist. I don't know why my web browser suddenly decided that my other seldom used email is my default. So let's see. So inclusive leadership. Oh, this isn't us. Sorry. Why do these metrics look not familiar? Where do we, okay, review acceptance ratio. So this one is ready, and we'll just wait to put it under contributor review. And then issue contributors is another metric that it looks like we've done some development on. And so so is review comment diversity. So I'll throw.
No, these are the standard template we have.
Yeah, we haven't started either of these yet.
Yeah.
So I'll just I'll go here and say issue contributors. Zoom review comment diversity. I've opened 1,000 tabs with this different user. I actually call it pull request comment diversity. Does anyone have a preference for any of these that we'd like to?
I can take issue contributors or any review recommend diversity. Any of these I can take it.
Okay, do we want to start by, I think review comment diversity, have we started anything on that?
I have no idea. Nups, not even, it's just a template.
So do we want to spend a few minutes just going through this one?
Yeah.
And, 'cause I think this one's, oops.
Sorry,
So
Sean, where are you at? I just lost my train for a second.
No problem. I'll put it in the Zoom chat. We are here.
Sean, is there a GitHub issue that was kind of the driver for this? I just wanted to see some context around.
So diversity might be the wrong word. What we were looking at is, are there really, how many comments and how many different people are making comments on reviews? So it's maybe more review comment distribution. So in the, go ahead.
Is it from the perspective of contributors, or is it from the perspective of the content, like diversity in the content or review codes, or diversity in the commit reviewer?
I can show you an example. What the question arose when we showed people, sorry, I have to, well, apparently, we showed people this visualization, the number of comments on closed pull requests. So when we presented this information to a couple of communities, which this is just mean comments for all closed pull requests, that drew out the question of, well, how many different people are commenting on the pull requests over a period of time? I don't know that we have a metric for pull request comment rate either, or like pull request comment count, because this, so like, do we have any metrics that we've released that say anything about commenting? We might start with something more basic if we haven't. Oh, reviews comments. So we could, and it looks like reviews comments probably, oh, we've started developing this one. So maybe we should start here. Although these are code review comments, which is, this is not, but I think we mean pull request reviews, because that's, yeah, this is not code review comment. What are we calling it here? I thought it's review comments. All right, yeah, this is definitely review comments. So, and that here is again, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's the same kind of, the word review is the same that we're using in other places that we're getting a little confused about, right?
Exactly. That like somebody somehow when we developed this, we actually called it code review instead of calling it a review, because if you read it.
So if we are changing
so
this,
this is, I guess this is, wait a minute, now it's like, I don't know, it's
I got lost here.
these
So
are
it's like,
these are review, yeah, because these are not code particular. Okay, known by because comments on a review are operationalized. There is no like essentially when you do a code review, like if you go through the GitHub process of making comments on a pull request, which would be in our definition review, you are performing a review, a code review, and those comments count as pull request comments. So it's
a code review also.
It is, but it's operationalized in the data as a review or as a pull request comment, right? So it comes through as a pull request comment. It doesn't.
So if you look at the perspective, like in the development, in the software development, you do a code review, right? And that is done. So GitHub, Git is a process through which you do the review, and that's where
the pull request is the process through
yes,
which you do the review, right? Exactly.
So having two separate review doesn't make sense to me.
No, code. We can't like it's a review. It's not distinct on any of the platforms. I guess that these could be code changes in knowing the volume, variety, and diversity of comments provided in a review provides insight into how actively discussed code changes
so then
in submitted reviews. And I guess the other thing is, because I'm going to change this to review, because code change is, we're not defining code change anywhere. And we're not defining, we have commits, and there are commit comments, which I believe are a metric that we have, but anytime there's a pull request, that pull request has comments, and it is acting in the function of a code review, but it's still a pull request, and the comments are still pull request comments. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then where do you have a code review as a separate in the database or in the GitHub process?
Yeah, so I don't think it's stored separately, but I am looking through I'm looking through the events table just to see. Yeah, it is, there is no separate data. I'm just verifying this in. So there's a review requested and a review dismissed, but everything else that is an action on a pull request on GitHub at least is is basically you can request a review and you can dismiss a review. So I don't think these are, there's no event that's like pull request comment that is distinct from yeah, I don't know if I should review comments. Where should I, maybe in the minutes, I'll note under review comment. Diversity, actually, comments was another one. Event types on GitHub for pull request. There is not a comment event. Those are implicit in the pull request comments data, and I'm just going to throw this giant ass list at you. These are all the different types of actions that can exist on a pull request, and there is not an action that says code review, because code reviews, they can be requested, they can be dismissed, but the comments around them are just recorded as comments. So the only evidence of a pull request, I mean, I suppose you could, there's some things you could do. You could maybe say if a, yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts? I don't think there's anything that's a code review separate from a pull request operationalized on GitHub, other than requesting and dismissing a review. Everything else is a comment on a pull request. And so
yeah, I think so also. I think so.
yeah. So I think review comments we should probably do first before we do review comment diversity. And I'll put
by the way, Sean, did we also add the Jira system? I think it's the same thing with GitHub. They have the same terminologies.
I mean, it could be.
I just thought of it because Apache, you know, Apache Foundation is a very huge, and most of them also uses they are using the Jira.
Yeah, we should.
So some of those big ecosystems, I think we should really consider what they're using.
Yeah. Do you have a some familiarity with Jira? Is a code review?
Yes, I mean, it's a code review platform.
So is that different than a?
They have like pull request terminology that they have most of those things, but they have other functionalities like social network, social coding system on it.
Mm-hmm.
That, sometimes some certain things that could be discussed on the mailing list, they can have this kind of iteration of discussion as well. It also helps to keep track of cross projects concern. So you can use tools like, for example, if you are doing a review on a project that can affect another project, you know, like this cross-bug system has been in the literature for a very long time. When, like in the Linux kernel, the Debian can be doing something, and why Ubuntu already has the fix for that. But these people are working independently. No one knows that this other person already has a fix. So some of this platform comes in with this kind of adaptability to make sure that it takes into consideration this cross-platform concerns. That's some of the additions they have.
So I haven't used Jira in a very long time, and I don't remember Like it's probably been
It's more
10
of a Kanban
years.
board.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to. Like back a long time ago, I used Jira and Bugzilla and those tools. But once GitHub came along, like a lot of people, kind of migrated to its combination of tools into one place and ease of use. I assume Jira is a Git tool now, like the repository.
It's a Git tool, but it's just like GitHub with the web platform, with the web portal.
But it's similar to Garrett, right? It's not a public site like GitHub or GitLab. It's actually a piece of software that you would download and implement.
No, it's online.
It is.
Yeah, it's online.
Hmm. Oh, it's an Atlassian product now.
Because I remember by 2017, I did a studies that I was studying how.
Oh, wow, this is way different than the last time I used it.
Yeah.
It does look like a Kanban board now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. It's like they have even clearly written it's for the agile methodology.
And this doesn't look like an open source. I mean, so I guess you're saying Apache uses Jira.
Yeah.
Are they using an open source version of it, or are they paying Atlassian?
I think Atlassian has, I don't really know how but I think they have a package with them. If that is not also part of their project, I don't know.
So they have a free version also, which supports 10 users or 3 agents, 2 GB storage, community support.
Let's open up my least favorite.
Okay, then if it is a proprietary thing, I think that could be our limitations as well.
Let's see. Yeah. Maven central repository that. Oh, okay, that's part of their community. How to contribute. Maven Jira convention. Maven can developer resources. Wow, like okay. How do I I used to be able to get to a list of Jira repos for Apache, but now I don't know where they are on the Apache website anymore. Submit patches. They call it a pull request. All right. Okay, so it looks like I mean, this is all the same language that GitHub does. It's just a different technical implementation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Commenting on a pull request. Yeah, see this to me, and we're over time now actually by 5 minutes, but this is okay. This is a boy, this is not a screenshot of GitHub.
It's a GitHub screenshot.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, draft pull requests are available in public repositories with GitHub free. So now because I know Apache does have mirrors of all their projects on GitHub. And it does sound like they're starting to actually take pull requests. Yeah, they're actually starting, like Maven is running off of GitHub now. So github.com, Apache, Maven. I mean, this sure looks like a project that's
It's a GitHub.
yeah, I mean, it looks like you're making pull requests. I don't know where this takes me. So they still have an issue tracker. This issue tracker may be in Jira,
Yeah.
but it sure looks to me as though all of their code is being contributed via GitHub pull requests now. Is that your, did you, well, we could ask someone at Apache, but this sure looks like Maven is actively a GitHub project and it's not a mirror from somewhere else. I mean, 1.7 thousand people have forked it. So I guess that's a question for the next time. And we're out of time, and I've done a bad job of being the timekeeper here for the 2 meetings I've been the timekeeper for. So my apologies to the world. Armstrong, I'm going to try to find my, I'm just going to make a note that we do need to your point.
Okay.
They clearly use Jira for, or it looks like Jira for an issue tracker, but it looks to me like their code is on GitHub at Apache, which doesn't mean we shouldn't consider. Well, I guess a question of Jira is, if it's just a product going forward, do we need to contribute it? And I think maybe that's a question for the larger CHAOSS project that maybe we should bring up in our weekly meeting. What do people think? Should we just, I'm going to toss this over as a topic in the weekly meeting.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's another place to address it. I'm just going to final edit as all right, and I will add this to the agenda for the next meeting, which will be August. Tuesday will be the 4th, I believe.
Okay, got to go.
I gotta go. See you later. I'm gonna end the call and the recording. Thank you, everyone. I have to find out how to stop my share and
Thank you.
end the call. Thanks, Armstrong. Bye.
Bye.